Hi, I'm Andrew Nash, and this semester I'm starting my second year in the BSc in Data Science and Analytics ACC. Alright, so I've been asked to put together this roughly 10-minute video to give you a bit of an idea of what my whole experience was like first year on the course the last year, and a bit of advice and kind of information about what to sort of expect from the course over the next few years. So my experience the first year, with the whole surprise early ending from coronavirus notwithstanding, was absolutely great, both in terms of the academic experience and then the more general UCC experience as a whole. I guess first I'll talk to you about the academic stuff, and then after that, after a few minutes, just kind of divide things roughly into the UCC experience as I had it, and then as I expect you might, if not this year, over the next few years. So academically, in terms of structure, as you're probably all aware at this point, we take a bunch of modules over 2 semesters, for each of which you'll have lectures, labs, and tutorials. So for the lectures, it's all theoretical concepts, no kind of aspects of the modules. So for computer science, it's Python programming, database design, logic design kind of stuff. For maths, it's calculus, it's linear algebra, it's probability and statistics and so on. So it's kind of these high-level, overarching kind of theoretical concepts. Then the tutorials and lab sessions are more practical, applied use cases of the stuff you learn in the lectures, even though at the start of the semester, particularly for the maths modules, you'd find that the tutorial content and lecture content are quite unrelated, and it can feel that you're always doing 2 different curriculums and that the workload is almost double. But this definitely gets better. By the time you get to your midterm assignments, things are already starting to tie in much better, and the workload does feel a lot easier then. So that's one thing to watch out for, and it does get better as time goes on. Personally, in terms of the content that we covered over the year, for pretty much every module we did, I quite enjoyed it. Even like in the labs and computer science, actually practicing writing the computer programs, and kind of in the maths tutorials, actually working through problems, it's quite good. I found there was almost no modules that the content for which I dreaded each week or really disliked. My favourite content being the stuff like math software, where we're working on both maths and computer science concepts in the same module for kind of a really true data science experience, which is what I was most interested in when I signed up for the course. So as for the workload and the amount of work that we needed to do outside of scheduled lectures and tutorials last year, it varied massively from module to module, and even then within these modules it varies hugely from week to week. So the closest you think you'll get to kind of homework or assigned work that you'll have to do would be weekly tutorial sheets and weekly lab sheets. So the tutorial sheets would be more of a kind of maths thing, where the teaching assistant will give you a sheet at the start of every week with a big series of problems on them, and then during a tutorial session during the week they'll run through and explain solutions to some of the questions on these sheets, depending on what was either hardest or most important or what people wanted to see the most. And for labs then, typically more computer science thing, it's you're going to a lab session, you're given a series of problems and you just practice doing them in the lab. What I found is very important is to try and be working on these quite a lot outside of the allocated time. So for the tutorials, it really is worthwhile making sure you have all the questions attempted, even if not successfully completed, at least attempted before you go into the tutorial. And for the labs, it's after the lab's finished, in your own time, to finish out the questions that you didn't get done in the time. Like when it comes to midterm assignments and Christmas tests, having done all the tutorial sheets and all the lab sheets as you're going along just makes things so much easier and relieves a whole lot of stress in study week. So something 100% just keep on top of, and I'd recommend doing. For me, I didn't do as much at the start of the semester, but as time went on, I really kind of forced us out to do that quite more. It just made stuff so much easier. Another thing to watch out for, kind of to a lesser extent I guess, is you probably had to pick your electives a week or so ago when you're registering, right? Or probably maybe in the next week or so you'll have to do it. I think you have until 2 weeks into college or something, so there's a bit of time left on that anyway. So I think you have a choice between either operations research or maths modelling as a module that you'll take, one or the other, and that'll probably be the one you'll do for the next 2 years as your kind of elective module. So myself, I chose operations research, and don't even really remember why at this point. It was quite a while back that I chose it. So I actually sat in on a lot of the maths modelling lectures and tutorials back in semester 2 when I had nothing better to be doing around campus. So I do have a decent enough idea of what that's about. So I guess in my opinion now, you're probably better off talking to your course coordinators or your academic mentors about this, just to get kind of the best opinion on what you should be doing. But from my experience, I think operations research is by far the easier module, with maths modelling being a bit more of a challenging, but still in that quite a rewarding challenge. So the idea of operations research is to solve relatively basic optimization problems. So it's kind of you're given situations that involve kind of either a business or kind of some sort of logistics problem, and then you're using kind of basic programming or maths, a bit of theory to try and kind of derive and find kind of optimal plans or solutions to these kind of problems. Maths modelling then, on the other hand, is basically applied maths. So it's simple harmonic motion, differential equations, springs, forces, conservation of energy, momentum, all that kind of really physics-based stuff. So leaving cert applied maths helps with this, but it's not essential. Like, I know plenty of people who didn't do leaving cert applied maths and got on fine with the model. So I wouldn't consider it a complete barrier to entry or a prerequisite. But really, to summarise, I think if you really like the idea of the physics, the applied maths, or like look kind of really into the maths, then and you're up for the challenge, then I think maths modelling would be definitely worth considering. Otherwise, I'd say kind of operations research can be a bit easier. It's a bit of a smaller workload, and it's still quite interesting, but not as much of a challenge. Again, other people disagree with me on this one from my year. That's my take on it and my experience of it. But try it out and see what you think. It's all down to you. Anyway, so aside from the academia, the social aspect of UCC and kind of attending UCC and being a first year in UCC was above and beyond the best aspect of the year. And while it's probably going to be quite a bit slower to get off the ground for you now this year, with everything that's going on, I think there still is an opportunity to have kind of a great experience while also kind of remaining safe and keeping public health in mind. We're quite lucky in the DSA, or the Data Science Analytics, a few of us have acronymized it that way, that it's a really small course. I mean, for my year it was 34, year previous it was something like 26, so for your year it's probably going to be a similar number. And it meant that over the first few weeks of semester one, I really got to know quite a large proportion of the course in a really short space of time quite well. And really, they've all been a great bunch of people, and it's been great to be able to work with them. Academically, it's made the challenging aspects of the workload an awful lot easier, being able to kind of collaborate with people, share things, discuss things, complain about things, kind of work out timetable confusions, tricky questions, all that kind of stuff. It's really, being in a tight group makes it so much easier. It's well worth kind of the effort to really get to know people. Even for you this year, it's going to be a lot harder to do because you're going to have less campus time and kind of online, and Freshers Week isn't going to be happening for you, so it's going to be a bit harder, but I think it's definitely worth putting the extra effort in whatever way you have, whether it's online calls or kind of making the most time you have on campus to really get to know people on your course. I mean, aside from the academic stuff, you had great crack as a group between Thursday nights out, which might be happening for you this year for a while, I guess. Maths and science balls, Freshers Week, Rag Week, and so on and so on. Those things won't be happening for you yet for a while, but I'd say to a certain extent you'll have to make do, and there will be an opportunity for you over the next few years anyway. Even when it comes to like things between long waits between lectures, again, that mightn't be much the case this year. Having a solid relationship with people in the course just makes it all so much easier. Outside of the course anyways, also kind of, because it's good to get to know people outside the course as well in UCC, it's well worth taking a look at the clubs and societies that are on offer. So like myself, I joined the Taekwondo club at the start of the year, and then later on in the year I was elected secretary of the ACM Student Chapter Society. It was November time or something. So for me, with the clubs and the Taekwondo club, the one I joined right at the Mardag, it was really convenient. So it's free, it's in the Mardag just across the Western Gateway, and they're all run at times that are compatible with either late lectures or kind of whatever schedule you've got going on, which just makes it a lot easier to get to training, and it's just a stress removed from kind of a week where the workload can be tough enough. So it's good that it's kind of a way to keep up the sport, get to know more people in UCC, keep physically active, which I mean is just a win-win. Like, I think for everyone, and there's so much choice available in UCC, for everyone it's definitely worth having a look and trying things out and seeing what's for you, what's not for you, and just giving things a go. In terms of societies, it's kind of a similar thing, where I kind of went down to Societies Day back last year and just signed up to pretty much everything that remotely interested me. I don't remember how many things I signed up for now at this point. And just tried out a few things, didn't even try out some other things I signed up for. But the thing is, you're not committing to anything, so it's well worth giving things a shot and then seeing, well, now Societies Day will probably be online, or whatever alternative might be online or not happening this year. But there's loads of information online about the societies and clubs on offer. What I'd recommend is just look at everything. Just if you're remotely interested in something, send an email or talk to them at Societies Day or online or whatever. Give stuff a try, and if you don't like it, just drop it. If you do like it, really stick with it. And with the societies, I say go on further. And if you really like something, or even if you slightly like something, try and run for a committee position. Because if you're on the committee, you'll get to know all the people in the society way better. You kind of get the experience of kind of committing to it more, running events, groups, kind of organisations, even travel benefits, which won't be happening for a few years now. in some societies, connections to companies via graduates, even getting to know some of the staff in EC better, which can just help later on in the year. Plus, it really can just be a great bit of crack to get more involved in something that you're interested in. So, what I'd say is the clubs and societies, there's loads out there. There's pretty much something for everyone. It really is worth trying. Can't emphasize it enough. Just try anything that's interested you and just see how it goes. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything I can think of to say. Within the time, I think we've just gone over the 10 minutes now. I'm sure you've had a long enough day of watching different videos and Zoom meet calls or whatever. So good luck. The most important thing I'd say is get to know as many of your course mates as possible. It'll be great. You'll enjoy the year more, even with the way things are at the moment with coronavirus and all. Do keep up on top of the work as much as you can, and do try and enjoy yourselves. And again, getting to know the group will help with that. So anyways, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for listening. Good luck over the next year and enjoy.